India's gig economy is booming. Millions are joining its ranks, drawn by the promise of flexible work. They are the delivery drivers, the online tutors, the freelance writers. They power our apps and fuel our on-demand services. But behind this facade of progress lies a stark reality. Gig workers often lack basic rights and protections. They face unpredictable incomes, precarious working conditions, and limited social security. This essay explores the plight of India's gig workers, their fight for rights, and the urgent need for comprehensive reform. We must acknowledge the vital role gig workers play in our economy. They are the invisible backbone, connecting businesses to consumers. Their efforts ensure that our packages arrive on time, our food is delivered hot, and our online tasks are completed efficiently. Yet, this vital workforce often operates in a regulatory grey area. Current labor laws, designed for traditional employment models, fail to adequately address the unique challenges of gig work. The gig economy thrives on flexibility and independence. This makes it difficult to classify gig workers as either employees or independent contractors. This ambiguity creates a legal grey area that leaves gig workers in a precarious position. They often fall outside the purview of existing regulations, denied the protections afforded to traditional employees. One of the key issues is the lack of clarity on employment status. Without clear guidelines, platforms can exploit this ambiguity, classifying workers as independent contractors to avoid legal obligations. This denies gig workers access to minimum wage guarantees, social security benefits, and other crucial entitlements. It also undermines their right to collective bargaining and protection against unfair dismissal. This regulatory void creates an uneven playing field, favoring platforms at the expense of workers. The fragmented nature of gig work further complicates matters. Gig workers often juggle multiple platforms and clients, making it difficult to establish a consistent employer-employee relationship. This makes it challenging to apply traditional labor standards and mechanisms. The lack of a central point of responsibility also hinders accountability. Platforms often distance themselves from the actions of their workers, claiming they are merely intermediaries. This diffusion of responsibility makes it difficult to address grievances and ensure fair treatment. The current regulatory landscape is simply not equipped to handle the complexities of the gig economy. We need a new framework that recognizes the unique characteristics of gig work while upholding the fundamental rights of workers. This requires a collaborative effort involving policymakers, platforms, and worker representatives. It is time to move beyond the outdated binary of employee versus independent contractor and develop a new paradigm that ensures fairness and dignity for all workers, regardless of their employment status. A single mother in Mumbai who relies on food delivery apps to support her family. She works long hours, navigating the city's chaotic traffic to earn a meager income. The pressure to complete deliveries quickly often compromises her safety, but she has no choice, as missing a delivery could result in a poor rating and reduced earnings. Her story is not unique. It reflects the daily struggles of countless gig workers across India. Take another case. A freelance writer who juggles multiple online platforms to make ends meet. He faces intense competition and constantly shifting algorithms that determine his visibility and earnings. He lacks job security, health insurance, and any form of paid leave. A sudden illness or family emergency could spell financial disaster. His story highlights the precariousness and vulnerability that characterize gig work. These are not isolated anecdotes but represent a systemic problem. Gig workers across India face similar challenges. They lack a safety net, exposed to the vagaries of the market and the whims of algorithms. The gig economy for many is a double-edged sword. It offers flexibility and opportunity, but comes at the cost of security and stability. It is time to acknowledge the human cost of this economic model and work towards a more equitable future. Creating a fairer gig economy requires a multi-pronged approach. Firstly, we need clear legal definitions that recognize gig workers as a distinct category of workers. This will enable the development of tailored regulations that address their unique circumstances. These regulations should guarantee minimum earnings, ensure access to social security benefits, and provide protection against unfair practices. Secondly, we need to empower gig workers through collective bargaining. Platforms should be obligated to engage with worker representatives to negotiate fair terms and conditions. This will give gig workers a voice in shaping their working conditions and ensure their concerns are addressed. It will also help level the playing field between platforms and workers. Finally, we need to foster a culture of transparency and accountability within the gig economy. Platforms should be required to provide clear and accessible information about their algorithms, payment structures, and performance metrics. This will enable workers to make informed decisions and hold platforms accountable for their actions. Transparency is crucial for building trust and ensuring fair treatment. The gig economy is here to stay. It is time to move beyond the rhetoric of disruption and address the real challenges faced by gig workers. We need urgent action to create a regulatory framework that protects their rights and ensures their well-being. This is not just a matter of economic justice, but also a question of social responsibility. A thriving gig economy requires a thriving workforce. By empowering gig workers, we empower our economy. By ensuring their rights, we ensure a more just and equitable society. The time for action is now. Let us work together to build a gig economy that works for everyone, not just the few.